Brothers and sisters, soldiers and soldierettes, be thankful that we are alive and breathing. Because if you are alive and breathing, we are back to conquer another day and another day and another day. And let's get to those honors, shall we? I honor thy ancestors, those who fought hard to get a lot of us in the state that we're in. And I'm talking about the righteous ancestors that fought hard. Some gave their lives, soldier and soldieress. Salute to get, like I said, to get us to the state we're in. And what state is that? Success state of mind. Because it's beautiful when we get to that, because the body follows the mind. So we got our mind right, everything else will fall into place. And I always got to place that goal of our families. May all of our families prosper and everything we touch turn to gold. And especially those who are righteous, those who are struggling. If you are healthy, mind, body, and soul, I always got to kind of throw that out there. If you are healthy, mind, body, and soul, you can conquer anything. You just got to pay attention to things and don't get wrapped up in the wrong things. Social media always plays a part, of course, things in the world, because things that happen on social media, unfortunately, sometimes things that happen in the world stem from social media a lot of times, because social media is here and it's everywhere. But you got a right state of mind. You will learn how to regulate, and how to navigate through this social media and in life in general, because we always go above and beyond. And I want to say, those in our families and our families that we held dear that may have transitioned, may they rest in peace and in power. I mean that. Those are my family, your families, anybody out there, anybody that we held dear that may have transitioned, passed away, may they rest in peace and in power, because we're going to keep that energy strong, especially those who meant well, that left a footprint, because we're all going to transition one day. So I just always recognize that energy, and it keeps me humble, and I'm humble for that great divine. When we humble for that higher supreme being, that great divine, that ultimate God, not that false God, we will then connect. But you got to connect to that real divine spirit within. This ain't no joke, and we're going to talk about the power of self-therapy. It's not easy, but when we get there, when we go through the steps, if you are able, mind, body, and soul, and you pretty much healthy, physically, spiritually, and we always say mentally, I know it's easier said than done, but when you can conquer these three areas in our lives, man, it just makes it, we go higher and higher, and we strive to want more, and especially when we pass it on to somebody else, our youth, those in our circle, our families, especially ourselves. Because if we have that strong power within, if we can be our own self-therapist, which is not an easy thing, but if we can do it, man, some great results and will come about, because that's what this walk, this righteous spiritual walk is all about. Results, results in ourselves, righteous results in ourselves, our children, our circle, and I say this all the time. It's something I always like to say, a positive ripple effect, start right where you are and work your way out. First with ourselves, our families. I say this a lot, but I mean, it's true. You start with oneself, and those who are our closest with usually our family, our children, our significant other, in our biological families. I mean, when I say family, I mean everybody in there, not just some, and then work our way out to the world, one person at a time, and a lot of times if you are connected to that divine spirit, that real divine spirit, I mean, like truly, not just playing, just for real, when you really feel it, those we come in contact with, if we are a reacher or a teacher, or we are trying to pass on positive energy to another person, whether it's brother or sister or a child, and they reveal, and they either show or reveal that they don't want to grow, then, we have to let them go. We can't keep teaching those that don't want to teach themselves. And I'm talking about those who are willing, able, healthy, and are able and somewhat intelligent, because, if you have any kind of intelligence and you're not wrapped up in anything toxic, you should be able to come through a lot of things with a little studying and, and paying attention and observing and, and not having any ego and When you have that willingness to learn within, that spirit of learning, you'll learn. I'm talking about righteous things now. Not no evil shit, not nothing bad. Because, I mean, I know a lot of us, like I say, a lot of us have different challenges. We're all in different roles, been through different lives, different kinds of conditioning. But if you have right at the base of that soul, you can conquer anything, whether it's seem hard sometimes or it might seem easy. We have those challenging times, but when you keep yourself like a soldier and you just stay posted up, you'll be ready for things. And talk to oneself when we by ourselves. Not like we're crazy or nothing like that. Self-therapy. That's what we're talking about. The power of self-therapy. And what goes into the power of self-therapy? Being able to deflect things that are toxic, not good for our psyche, our mind, body, soul. These are things that we should study on a daily, real talk, especially in these times. Like I say, with all these computers and phones and frequencies, yes, all this stuff gives off frequencies, but you have to be paying attention to it. You can't be caught up in it, and use some of this stuff, for, to show those who view us, those of us that upload and, stuff like that, videos, and whether it's on YouTube or any other social media outlet. I'm talking about brothers and sisters that, that's just living life, and not wrapped up in drama, and when we view it, it will come out. Because what I always say, what we harbor inside eventually will come out, negative or positive. So, but we ain't gonna talk about the negative right now. We're gonna talk about the positive. So when you harbor positive things within and you have positive desires and you want to do something, it'll come out, especially when you get determined. Because once that great divine puts that determined spirit in us, brother or sister, salute to those that take that determination, righteous determination, and run with it, and just let it flow naturally, and not worried about what person, place, or thing thinks, and just put it out to the universe, put it out to the world. Just keep teaching, and always keep those, keep giving or doing or having good deeds, whether it's seen or unseen. We first off, what I always say, we do things for that great divine, because we work through our psyche or our spirit, our psyche. It comes up, it's the pineal gland, actually, I was pointing at. But the psyche is the center of it all. That's why you hear me talk about it so much, I've been through the challenges and levels and the uneasiness and the hard truths and all that stuff. I've been through all that, still learning, kind of keep ourselves in a student mode, a learning mode, just so things don't catch us off guard, because we are human beings. Things will always try to sway us and get us to go in a different direction. That's why you gotta be careful on this social media sometimes and these frequencies, and when you're on a right path, whether you baby stepping or you've been on it for decades, it's all, especially when you get up powerful, when you really get up in those levels and you really truly become self-aware of oneself. And this brother, sister, male, female, young or old, when you finally there, as so many of us say, when you know. And when you're there, when I say there, I mean at a state where you just want to live life. You want to love your children. You want to love your significant other. And you want to share that love to others, because it's important. The energy we harbor inside, it's important how we share it to those in our circle. Now, it's up to those in our circle to receive, those who are reaching and teaching or giving off energy, and not just speaking on, podcasts or videos and nothing like that. I'm talking about in life in general. When we're, when, like I said, that determination, when we just want to see the good in life, not that we so positive that we're stupid though, because you gotta have those boundaries too. That's something I'm learning on this walk. But you'll know, like I said, if you're there, if you're divinely connected, you'll see the wrong intent in individuals, even if they're not speaking. If they're, it'll show, because whatever inside, it will show. And that go for me too. It'll come out. That great divine don't play out here. Though people can take the great divine, that higher God, that real God, take it for granted and see what happens. Better appreciate those little gifts that force sends a lot of us and have given a lot of us. And it's a lot of us that get those gifts, get those those divine downloads. But we got to pay attention to it, and It'll show us the signs, as I told my son Aaron, Lord Lamont. You know, as I told him, you got to pay attention to those signs because they do come. You know, this spiritual realm out here and being connected to that higher force is not no joke. You know, just like my grandmother used to say, just keep on living. You know, that spirit of my grandmother saying that, and you know, things I learned from my granddad, my mom, my dad, my uncles, and you know, things I've even learned from my brother and my sister. You know, I'll never forget the things I learned in one's family. It's great. You know, we got to draw that strength from our families, and I know we have some parts of our family, unfortunate, that might be toxic sometimes and wrong, but let's draw from that strength from our families, the good side of our families, you know, those in our circle and so on and so forth, you know. And before we you know, now some individuals, unfortunately, this could be in our families or in the world or in our circles, you do have those that are rotten to the core. Unfortunately, we have that, you know. I hate negativity. I hate it. It's like it breaks my heart to even talk about it. But we have to acknowledge it. We know it's there. We can't be up on no cloud and think everything's going to be sweet and fine. We have to be ready for things. Like I said, not that we're paranoid, because we're just keeping ourselves ready so we can stay on course and keep our mind stable and stay as healthy as we can, mind, body, and soul. That's what it's all about. Now, I want to go back to what I was saying, that sometimes we do have those that are rotten to the core, unfortunately. But we got to be a realist, you know. But let's understand those that are toxic. I said this before, you know, many times, but let's understand why certain individuals, brother or sister, young or female, maybe young or old, let's understand why they are the way they are before we just kind of, you know, cast them off to the side. I mean, we don't let them affect us if they're toxic, but let's study them and understand, you know, why they are that way. You know, it's just, I don't know. I think it's kind of good to do that, to understand things, and we can navigate through this life. We can move through this life in a almost simple way amongst the challenges and storms and misunderstandings and these human things that we might do sometimes. But if we are of a righteous heart, man, to the pit of our soul, man, worry won't even be in our vocabulary. We have some concern, as I learned from my brother. But never be worried, never be confused, you know. And when you know that you can be a self-therapist to ourselves now, not just trying to be therapists to everybody else. You know, we all sometimes, you know, and I'm talking about me too, you know, and this is just for my own opinion. I don't want to like I'm speaking for everybody, but this is for me. Sometimes that great divine tell me to sit down, shut up sometimes and listen. You know, I listen to that divine spirit. I don't mess with it, you know. When that divine spirit tells me to speak, I speak. When that divine spirit tells me to act, I act. But when that great divine tells me to shut up and listen and learn, I do that too. Because every aspect, every little part of our lives that's connected to teaching and, you know, doing right things in life, that's what we listen to. Not the toxic things and things that can draw us away, try to sway us. And, you know, things like, you know, toxic music and, you know, girls twerking all the time, and girls only care about, you know, only thing they care about, you know, like photos and videos, stuff like. I'm talking about those that do this now. I'm not saying all sisters or females do this, but those that do, I always say, you're gonna get old one day. You know what I'm saying? It's gotta be more than booty shaking and booty parts and butts and boobs and, you know, and getting your lips done. And, you know, I have nothing against, because I want to say, you do have some good-hearted, you know, sisters that may have got things done to their body and you know, the weave and all that stuff. But it all comes from the heart. I don't judge any of that. It's all about the heart. It's all about the heart. But sisters that do these things to these selves, research it. You know, even if weave that you put in your hair, we have to research things and not just do things for clout or attention or just for a photo. You know, research everything. You know, you're going to get things done to your body, you know, that's unnatural, especially. You know, research it, my sisters, and anyone, you know, brothers too. You know, we got to research things. Don't just dive into things, you know. We have to watch our impulses and pay attention to our instincts. That'll get us through this life, I'm telling you, when we study our impulses. Because that's what getting a lot of us in trouble. You know, I say us because I've been there too. You know, I watch those impulses now. And I'm telling you, And this goes with, you know, you got to get deep on things. You know, impulses can lead to a lot of wrong things if you're not watched. I'm talking about wrong impulses, you know, because there are righteous impulses. You know, sometimes we can do something righteously off of an impulse, but watch those bad things. Like we have to watch what we see, feel, and hear. You know, especially with this social media, you know, and things we hear that's coming from the world, and we gotta be analytical. I say that word a lot because it's helped me, you know, and that's the best way, man, to maintain that power of self-therapy. It's a beautiful thing, but we gotta be willing to. Solitude will help you a lot. You have to take a lot of solitude. I don't care if you have a job, if you're busy, if you got 2 jobs, you better take those moments to oneself, especially if you have a family, children, and you kind of have a busy life. You got to take those pockets of solitude. You know, the more time we take to oneself, the better, because that's how we develop that self-therapy. You know, especially if we're going into something important, you know, especially if you think it might be, if you feel it in your gut that a situation we're going into, and it's just an example of whatever it is. If you feel it in your gut that it's negative, you definitely have to think about that and meditate on it. But even if you're going into a situation I'm talking about things that are important, you know, that are pivotal points in our lives, you know. Now, even if it's something positive, you know, whether you might be getting ready to speak to someone, just anything in general in life, you know, I always like try to keep a broad way of thinking about things. I'll try to keep my mind like that. Remember, that's a part of self-therapy. That's for myself, but that's that way because I developed that within. That way it'll spew out and it teaches to those before me, like you or anyone else in the world, online, you know, wherever, you know. But that's self-therapy. Man, like I say, when you're going into something important that may be positive, step back, think about it. You know, just kind of play out little scenarios, you know, just think out how things would go, you know, and, you know, just kind of keeping yourself ready, you know, not prepared or looking for anything wrong or nothing like that. Because then when you get to the session, when you get to the situation, whatever you're coming into, and that's whatever it is, you're kind of like ready, you know, and when you don't take things personal and you take ego out of there and just be yourself, things tend to happen the right way, you know. And like I said, whether it's negative or positive, and whatever happens, if you're truthful to oneself and honest as we can possibly be, honesty always wins. I don't care, you know, how hard it seems. Just be honest. You'll thank yourself later. You'll love yourself later, and guess what? Others will see that honesty in you too. I don't care how hard it seems. Honesty is always the best policy. I don't give a damn what nobody say. And I've lived this, learned this, and that's connected to karma and law of attraction and all those wonderful things we learn on this walk. And knowledge, man, knowledge is more than power. Knowledge is a way of life. And I mean knowledge from books, knowledge we might get from reachers and teachers, the real like-minded reachers and teachers, brother or sister, soldierette. You know, when we get that teaching to hit that gut, hit that soul, man, not just the head. When they hit that soul, it hits all chakras righteously, man, and it sends chills through your body. When you can get a brother or sister that we are listening to, whether it's in person or maybe online, because you got some powerful brothers and sisters online too now, you know. But I always say you have to be in that space. You have to be truly, truly connected. I have to throw in there righteously, you know, be willing to learn, you know, work out that uneasy stuff we have and get rid of that shit. Things we have inside that we don't need, please get rid of it. Get rid of it, you know, mind, body, and soul. So we can see the glory in life and also see the glory in ourselves. That's why we be positive. That's why we embrace ourselves and positive energy, you know, and study things, person, place, or thing, and especially ourselves. Always gonna come back to ourselves. We study ourselves so we can have and know the power of self-therapy. And I wanted to also talk about and thank those that's been listening. My thumbnail. And join me on Rap Fame if you get a chance. Remember, my son's on here. Aaron, a.k.a. Lord Lamont. I got to mention him, you know. We were supposed to kick it this weekend and stuff got so busy and I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But son, if you happen to catch this video, we'll hook up. We'll get together. I promise. And I always keep your name out there. I love you as well as all my children, my biological children, and my spiritually adopted children. I love my children, and I thank my children for being born. Daddy will always keep my children in my heart. So my son see this video, and I love you, all my children. Like I said, my daughters, my sons, and I love you. So we're gonna get together, and you'll see my son on here. We got that connection. All my children do, whether they're far or near. Daddy love you. The great divine loves me, and I'm glad. Be thankful that great divine loves us. So, but back to my thumbnail. Join me on Rap Fame. It's an app you can get on your phone, and you just put it on your phone, and it's Brother X Cares. And I want to talk about my thumbnail, and I just thank those on Rap Fame that do support my music and have listened. And as I said, there's many great artists on there, brother or sister. And just check out other artists on there too. There's a lot of great artists on there. Of course, you have to sift through, some of the music, but there is good music on there with good energy. So salute to those on Rap Fame. And it said on there, we miss your fire tracks. And I like things like that, just that little saying, we miss your fire tracks. It's beautiful to get feedback like that. So, like I say, let's call down protection on those that want to find their way and maybe can't find their way. May they find their way. I always do this. I call down that great protection from that great, great divine for ourselves, from ourselves. And I say from ourselves so we don't become our own worst enemy. And that's how we get, and that's how we harbor, and that's how we have that power of self-therapy. We got to kill the enemy within and get rid of it and make it dissipate and disappear up into the universe and let that great divine deal with it. Because remember, when we rebuke things, when we rebuke it, also add on, make it dissipate. Any negative energy that's around us, we say rebuke it, dissipate, and disappear out into the universe. Because once it's out in the universe, nothing is greater than the universe. So that's why we send it, because we don't want it to go to nobody else, right? When we rebuke negative energy, it has to go somewhere. So send it up to the universe. That's just my own little thing, my little opinion. And I spoke on this about many podcasts ago about when we rebuke negative energy, as I just said, like I said, we say let it dissipate and disappear into the universe, because that's what that higher supreme being, that's what that great force is. Because like I told my son on a podcast we did, Lord Lamont, no one knows how big the universe is. We can only speculate, estimate, and assume, but no one knows. And what's the only force that knows is that higher supreme being, that real God, not that false God. So that's just a few things I wanted to talk about, and I thank those for coming in to another edition of EBX Discussion. I love doing this because this is a form of self-therapy, like doing music, singing, speaking, even if we're speaking to ourselves, as I said, because if we can't speak good energy into ourselves and harbor it, how are we going to speak it to others? We got to deal with that inner shit. It's always going to come back to that. It's no getting away from it. And that go for me too, But thank that great divine and those who think like me, brother or sister. And if you're young, be thankful if you are in a success state of mind. And you can be one's own self-therapy. Know the power of self-therapy. And you can conquer anything in this life. And that's a guarantee. So that's my thought. And I thank those for riding along with the brother. Current subscribers, new subscribers. May that great divine bliss or bless you in your life. And anyone that view, I thank you. Anything you get out of what I say, take it and teach it to someone else. Please do. And my reachers and teachers out there, those I have learned from. And the real righteous reachers and teachers out there, that's doing their thing. And those who's no holds barred and fierce on the spiritual walk. I salute to the great brothers and sisters that are out there, may that great divine, stay in your life and bliss or bless your family. And I honor my family. I honor your family. I honor my children, their mothers, brothers and sisters all over the world. May you please keep that ultimate peace in your part of the world, wherever you are right now. Salute.